Greetings, webheads, and welcome to episode 48, otherwise known as episode 50, part 2 of Witty Banter, yet another Marvel Crisis Protocol podcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Alex.
I'm David.
This is JP.
We are here to help you get better at and have more fun with your Crisis Protocol. At least 75% of the podcast today, I believe, has consumed some form of cold or flu medication. So this episode's going to be interesting. We're just going to kind of let it roll, see how it happens. We're anxious to see your feedback, webheads. Tell us if you want us to be on more medication next time we record. Yeah, JP, what's up?
This is sick dick energy right here.
We are
shrivelly sick dick.
It's not pretty. It's not pretty.
No.
And one of many reasons why we have declined to make this a video podcast. We are going to be talking about the change in the crisis, specifically how it changes your strategy with regards to how you pick your crisis, putting into your roster, and then how it affects deployment, because you don't know who's going first, how deployment has changed. So we're going to be covering that. We have a little bit of business, as always, before we get started. First of all, we would really appreciate it if you guys could help us out, if you could give us a like, if you could give us a follow, if you could give us a comment on whatever your podcast catcher of choice is. That really does help teach the algorithm to help other people find us and help to grow the community. And of course, if you could join us at patreon.com/wittybantercast for as little as $1 a month, you can help us out and get some cool benefits, including but not limited to having access to our Discord. Our Discord's really, it's a fun place to be. We're still kind of ramping things up, so there's still plenty of time to get in and not have it completely overwhelm your mentions. So we would really appreciate it if you guys could do that. We also have an event that's coming up. Alex, do you want to talk a little bit more about that, please?
Sure can. So this will be the third Big Beef. I know it's kind of close to the last one we had, July, but the venue was willing to work with us a little bit better for the time or the dates that we wanted this year, unlike last year. It'll just be a standard Challenger event. Minute or an hour and a half, so 45-minute chess clocks on each side. Everything released up to day of will be legal. We're pending LVO qualifier, and the dates are February 21st and 22nd. I know this year will be a little tough for us, possibly, with it being the same weekend as CarlCon, but that's the only time that the venue was available. So, either way, if you're enjoying CarlCon, great. If you can't make it to CarlCon, come to Big Beef.
There's a lot of people for whom driving here for Big Beef is going to be a lot shorter drive than going out to CarlCon. So CarlCon's awesome. You should go to that. But you should also come here. So just give us a thought. We'd love to see you out there. We will put the Longshanks link in our socials. That way you can get a chance to sign up. You'll also get all the details with regards to the venue and how to get there. Alex, did we cover everything we needed to cover on that?
We sure did.
All right. Well,
So please say we're getting belts this year, because I missed out on that. I didn't get a belt last year.
If you sit on your hand until it's numb, does it make Big Beef feel like CarlCon?
I have never been to CarlCon, so I can't answer that question.
Same.
I do like the way you think outside the box, though. You know, that is not a question I would have thought to ask. Again, webheads, 3/4 of us are on some form of cold or flu medication. Who knows what's going to happen in this episode? It's going to be fantastic.
I'm too much of a retard to have taken any medicine for any of the sickness that I've had the past 5 days. I've just toughed it out like a moron.
So what we're saying is that what's coming out is either the effect of the virus or the medicine that is fighting the virus. Either way, I mean, it's going to be a free-for-all. So, I guess we didn't get to answer the question. Alex, is there going to be a belt?
There is going to be a belt. I was told there's a belt. We are getting a belt. There's a belt.
Let's go. I mean, webheads, you get a belt. Come on. What more do you need? You got to be there. You got to be there. Although, ironically enough, I won't be there, so never mind. So let's dive into the meat of what we're talking about, specifically with regards to crisis selection. David, the topic was kind of your idea, and I know you've been kind of champing at the bit to talk about that. So why don't you set the table for us, and we can start the conversation from there.
So I'm sure you guys know out there that I'm part of like 4 or 5 MCP discords, so I'm like kind of monitoring what's going on. And a lot of the talk is about like how do you select your 5 crisis for your 5 secures and your 5 extracts, because it's a lot more difficult now for sure, because now you can't engineer like I'm gonna only play these 3 crisis, and like, all the 3 crisis are good for me, so like it doesn't matter, as opposed to now you have 5 and all 5 of them may not be good for you. So I wanted to talk about like how to choose said crisis and like what you're looking for, and how to approach the decision of like, because like I've been working on my webs roster and I've been trying to like figure out which crisis I should take and which crisis I should remove based on how many, like, playing games and going, okay, maybe I wasn't as good at this crisis as I thought I was. And one of the decisions that came up was, do I take Deadline to Destruction, or do I take something like Mutant Madmen, or other spread out pay to flip, like the Guardians Save the Shi'ar or whatever that one is, because that one's a pay to flip that's a little bit spread, but it's a little bit closer to you. So maybe a B is better because I want to be more spread. But I ended up going, I really like the way that Deadline is set up. And I have characters like Noir who can just like ignore the Deadline damage. It doesn't really matter. So that's come up in a lot of things. Like a lot of people in the webs Discord are talking about playing Terrigen canisters, and I think Terrigen canisters is a terrible idea for webs because, like, they don't want to have that slow on them, and they don't want to have that poison. Now you could play it and obviously just try to build something into your roster where you can play it, which is probably a good decision. It all really comes down to like the odds, right? Because like the odds of your opponent picking like your worst crisis is like a 40% chance that they're going to pull that crisis and they're going to pick it if they can identify it, which like that's pretty high odds to get a crisis that you're probably not going to be good at. So it might benefit people to like build what they're trying to play into that crisis, especially because I've noticed now that after playing so many games that the crisis that I want to play are coming up less, because my opponents are looking at it and going, oh, he's really good at scoundrels. I don't want to play scoundrels. So they're just going to pick whatever the other one is. So like I'm getting to play the crisis that I want to play less often, and I'm playing the crisis that I'm more mediocre at more of the time. So I think it benefits players and listeners out there that to like start thinking about those crises that you're like marginally worse at and having a better plan for them, rather than trying to be like, oh, I mean, this plane is good on riots and this plane is good on scoundrels. That's what I'm going to do, because the odds are you're probably not even going to play those crises, right? I don't know if like JP, if you've had any of that come up with your Dormammu roster. I know you've been playing around with Dormammu, so.
I feel like Dormammu is able to select. I feel like his crisis selection, you can kind of have a lot of redundancy there. Between like Fisk, Deadline, Meteors, Intrusions. What's the tight square? The new sword.
Mkron.
Mkron. Let's see, Wedding Party. Like, there's a lot of blues that like it's fine, okay, whatever. And then the reds. I mean, the reds are kind of the same way. I don't think you're forced to go into bad reds with them. You got hammers and you got inhuman weapons, virus. You could play ships. Let's see. On Tessie. And there's just like enough. There's enough for Dormammu to just kind of do his thing. I have been kind of kicking around. I haven't like done a deep dive or anything on it, but I have been kind of kicking around the idea, and I don't know if it would like break the game, but being able to take a roster that could take just like 5 really skewy crises. I don't know if there are even 5 red skewy crises anymore, but there are definitely blue skewy crises that people just don't want to play one way or the other. Like coming up with a list that could just jam like a bunch of skew crises, because I've noticed that in Dormammu, like people just don't want to play Fisk. They just don't. So they won't. They'll pick whatever the other one is. So if you could just jam it with like just the most silly crises that you can, and then make a roster that can play on all of them, which is kind of like you're basically making like the Omega roster, I guess. It might be able to be done though, depending. Like you could take Fisk and Scoundrels.
Hey Pete, when you say the Omega roster, what do you mean by that?
I see your plan is to just make it so that your opponent doesn't know what crisis to not pick, right?
Yeah, like I don't want to play that one or that one. And then if they do pick the one, like say they do land on the one that they kind of like you're still good at it. Like you can still hang. Like maybe like a Kingpin Dormammu roster or something like that. It probably will depend on which way. I feel like the consensus is that like old school webs beats Kingpin pretty handily, but I don't know if old school webs are getting played as much as new school webs. New school webs are definitely like more fighty and just kind of skirmishy. Old school webs are kind of just like wide control, so I don't know. I feel like the old school webs are getting kind of picked on by Apocalypse, and the new school webs kind of solve that a little bit with rerolling for any damage type. So considering that APOC is still kind of the big bad, if people are playing webs, they're probably playing at least a decent amount of the new school stuff. So maybe Kingpin's decent into it. I haven't been playing Kingpin too much since the new webs came out, so I don't really know. But something like that or even you could play like Dark Dimension, like, or not Dark Dimension, Dark Webs, like just make a webs list with Dormammu, and then play all this stuff. You could play like the best webs and the best Dormammu stuff. Because I don't know, David, are you having trouble filling out your 5 reds for or your 5 blues, I guess, for webs?
Yeah, it's usually been that like whatever the 5th crisis is, especially on the extract side, because I want to take things that are faster scoring, but like you run into like, do I play Terrigen canisters, which I'm like I'm off the train on Terrigen canisters. Then it becomes like, okay, if I'm not playing Terrigen canisters, then what am I playing? Am I playing like I'm already playing Senators, scientific samples, spider infected cubes, right? So it's like, what is that next crisis going to be? It's going to be probably a 4 scoring crisis, but it's hammers. I don't know if I like introducing extra damage, right?
Yeah.
I've been trying to slowly rotate on which that 5th crisis is, and I think I settled on the new one, the jailbreak, because I really like how that one played.
I have not had a lot of practice on that. I still don't know which way that one swings. Does it go to scenario or attrition? I don't know. Because if you're having to burn actions to get to it, it feels like it would favor. It depends, right? Like if the attrition has range, it might favor the attrition. I'm not sure. But kind of going back to what you said about the. Oh, go ahead, guys.
I was just gonna say, I know that jailbreaks made a real comfortable home in my Sentinels list. Just for what you were saying, JP, because you got range. You can park a couple of the big stompy boys on them and then be pulling people towards you. I tend to think it's a little more attrition-y, just because you have to go through the process of picking things up every single time. Alex, what's been your experience with regards to your roster creation with the with the new rules?
Um, to be 100% honest, like truly honest, I haven't had too much roster construction dilemmas with the rosters I've been playing. Apocalypse, I just inserted crises that I knew I was going to be good at. I put meteors and I put the new lockdown in it because I think Apocalypse is good on that one so far. And then for extracts, I threw in jailbreak and I don't remember what my extracts are, but I wasn't too worried about it with Apocalypse. I had been on the fence for a lot of his crises to begin with, not because I thought ones were better than others. I thought there were a lot that he was good at, so I'm not worried about it with Apocalypse whatsoever. And then I've been playing the playing the Cyclops King Black Bolt list, and that one has been a little bit more fun. Trying to figure out like what's good and what's changed, especially when the first iteration of this list came out not too long after King Black Bolt came out. So I mean, it's 8 or 9 months old at this point. Uh, Characters have changed since then, so I've been playing around with ideas for the roster to begin with. But originally, the list was very attrition-y, especially in the crisis selection. I like it's Wedding Party, Fisk, and I want to say it's Intrusions. So I mean those are pretty fighty secures to begin with. And then,
Well,
go ahead.
I want you to expand a little bit on that, Alex, because I understand what your meaning is. I just want you to because you're it's not necessarily that it's more fighty, it's that there's things on center line so you shoot, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and yeah, it's definitely more of a centerline type of crises. And then on top of it, I mean, the list does a very good job at being able to move around with both Cyclops and King Black Bolt having out of activation movement for other models. You just got to get the powertrain rolling, but then with Cyclops' leadership, a lot of those crises, because they're on the middle of the line, you're not going to be spread out too far from each other, so that way you get the max benefit out of Cyclops' leadership.
And that's a good example of designing your leadership around what crisis you're selecting.
Yeah, for sure. And then my extracts, I guess the additional crises I put in for the 5, I just added meteors because it's a super close secure, being able to benefit from leaderships and movement capability again. And I put in jailbreak or lockdown, same kind of reason. And then the extracts were a lot of the low. I have hammers in there, even though I hate it. It's probably going very soon because I just cannot stand hammers. But it gives extra dice, so that way it gets Cyclops going. And then with the other 2 crises, it was Montesi and Legacy Virus. Again, straight down the middle, just turn it 90 degrees with Montesi, or with Legacy Virus, it's still down the middle. I threw in Jailbreak, and then I think I put in... What else did I put in? I've got cubes. Cubes, because I've got a couple of healing factor models in the list, so they can deal with it a little better.
So what you're telling me is everyone's playing Jailbreak except me.
Pretty much.
Which is really interesting, because I have had quite interesting games on that crisis, because I've been able to kind of bully people by taking their a lot of the things that I've been doing on that crisis is I will rotate, I'll start a character I'll purposefully start a character on when they activate. Like I'll end their activation within one of it, so that at the start of the next round I can just grab it and go somewhere else. Or I will double move to their side and take theirs if I think I can get it. And so like it ends up in this weird situation where it's like, how do you break parity from me because I'm like stealing all of these things? And it makes it so that it's harder for my opponent to score because they don't have the action economy to like be able to go grab mine, or to be able to like play around the fact that I'm just maneuvering around them, which is really cool. And I think there's a world where you could play like fighty people on it and just like stand on those things and just kill anybody who comes near you, which is a decent idea too, because you can't run away from it.
Yeah,
JP,
well,
before we started, you were talking about running a list with both Zemo and Echo. That seems like that could be a lot of fun on Jailbreak.
I mean, you'd be able to get around.
Right. So with the changes in the rules, do you guys think that the most significant change is going from 3 to 5, or the veto? David, let's start with you. Like, of those two, because that kind of summarizes the rule changes. Which of those two do you think has had a bigger effect as you've seen on the game?
It absolutely has to be the veto, right? Because the veto just gives you agency and it gives your opponent agency. And so it doesn't it makes it so you're not locked into like, I really suck at this crisis. Well, we pulled that crisis and now we're playing it. You can go, well, I really suck at this crisis. Well, I'm just not going to play it. We'll play whatever the other thing is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has dramatically changed the way that games play. And like it basically it doesn't make you feel as bad for losing priority, and then, like it gives you this opportunity to opt out of something that you think is really bad, which I really like. I think it's a really good concept.
AP, what do you think?
I like the veto. It's one of my favorite Jimmy John's subs. It's pretty tasty.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That's the one I go to too. If I'm not getting a turkey slim, the veto's the way to go.
I love
Alex?
the Italian nightclub.
No, I agree
Yeah.
with you, David. That's definitely the top of the list, 100%. Yeah, I'd agree with David though. The veto is definitely more. Although I will say the 5 definitely makes the game spicy.
Alex,
the
how about you?
veto
What do you think?
I gotta agree with these two. It's definitely the veto. I've had so many games so far where I've pulled the extracts that my opponent wants to play. Especially like I'll look at their list and I'll see a name more, and it's like, oh, there's cubes or legacy virus. I'm just throwing 2 random jackass examples out there that it never actually happened, but yeah, I'll pick legacy virus because your stupid Namor can eat a dick and not steal. That was a bad example too. You guys know what I mean, though. It's like it helps veto those possible unwinnable situations that previously existed. Like David was saying, it's like, well, I'm playing this garbage crisis. I'm not going to win this.
Bring back researcher. Let's
Yeah,
get a little
do
bit
it.
more.
You know-
absolutely. You
Let's
could
get a
bring
little bit
back
more
you could bring back demons and researcher.
Get more skew in these.
I was-
Come on.
No demons.
I
Fuck
was
that
actually
shit.
I was actually just gonna say the veto rule actually probably means that you could bring back some of those down Broadway crises and still not have them be game breaking, which will with the new crisis pack, we'll see. Maybe we will get a pseudo gamma or pseudo demons coming back with it. It does seem like one way or the other, the rule changes really are designed to force players to be more generalists as opposed to specialists. It really does discourage or even prevent players from just having one thing and one crisis that they can go to town on and just sort of prey on people with that. It seems like it more forces people to play the game as a whole.
Yeah, I don't know if I go that far, but it definitely makes it so there's less skew for sure. I think you can still make teams that are like I'm playing a scenario list or I'm playing an attrition list. Like I think that still works, but you're not going to land on demons 33% of the time. It's just like obviously demons isn't even in the game, but whatever your preferred scenario is, it's not going to be a 33% chance anymore. It's going to be 0.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I think it'll be interesting because it sort of implies that there's a limited amount of all those different types of scenarios. So when the new crisis pack comes in, I think it almost suggests that we're still only going to have like 4 scory based crises and 4 attrition based crises. So in other words, you're not going to get a dramatic expansion of the number of crises that'll be available, because then you're kind of back to the same place where you were before, where you could just load up with all the crises that you're good at. It just, now you can roll up 5 of them instead of 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean, like down Broadway, as you said, it's probably, I mean, it definitely favors some builds, some lists, but man, they really made those to be just abusive, didn't they? Like, we're gonna put Gamma's threat at 15. So
yeah,
or like,
that's true.
Or we're gonna make the scenario where if you want to contest it, you're gonna be incinerated. If you die on it and you wake up, you will be incinerated again. Like, these are not friendly crises at all. Like, you could do a much more healthy down Broadway that is not as skewy as those two.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if we see that. We do have the one, I can't remember what they called it, but we do have the new type of Crisis 2 with like the spotlight where the thing moves too. So we don't really know what that's going to look like, but we'll have to see how that plays and which kind of a team that we think that's gonna benefit as well.
Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing what that looks like, because I'm wondering if it's like, if you're in the area, something happens to you, whether it's like you get less defense dice or like, or you get some kind of buff for being.
I will say,
I'm.
Oh, go ahead, Patrick. Finish your thought.
No, I was just gonna say how excited I was about getting Sentinels models. I was just gonna say I'm. Yep, go for it, JP.
No, you.
I'm excited that there's new. No, you finished your thought. I'm just excited that there's new Sentinels models. Okay, you go.
Okay. So after playing the new scenarios a little more, I do like Namor a lot. Because he could do something that the other midline stealers cannot do. And that's just like counter punish. So like if there's a mid grab and you don't get the prio roll, unless they bring a mid grab, they are stuck in the middle where Namor is like directly behind them, ready to punish them. They're less incentivized to bring a mid grab because they have a coin flip to actually be able to use the long mover, medium base character. Unless it's an opposing Namor, then you could probably make an argument. But like bringing Angela to do this thing doesn't seem great on a coin flip. And like, I mean, ASM, yeah, I guess he's fine. Whatever. Like, he's still a good character. Webb's probably run him. So like Angela's kind of like bottom, ASM's mid, but like Namor's top. And like if you bring ASM to do the same thing, you can't punish mid like you can with Namor. Just because Namor beats ass.
Yeah, he does.
And if you're gonna do an unsafe grab on mid, there's a high likeliness that you bring a damage reduction character, right? I mean, typically if you have one, you're gonna grab the mid with that one. So Namor kind of shuts that down too. I feel like there's not a lot of lost opportunity if you lose the prio roll with Namor. I like that quite a bit. But like Angela can't Angela can't punishment any. She moves up, makes a 6 dice attack, and then throws a size 4 that does 3 damage. It's just not great.
Yeah. I am definitely mourning what they did to my girl Angela. Alex, any kind of closing thoughts on the change in the crisis selection before we move on to deployment?
No, I am very pleased with crisis selection, like the roster building part and how it's done. Like, I am very pleased with it. Like, I enjoyed the last shakeup they did with how, I guess the last two shakeups. One with the new crises, and like including even the stuff from back in 2023. And then when they originally changed that, like every time they've done something with crises, I feel as though it's put new life in the game to begin with. But this one definitely made quite the change. Like, I feel like this change from Mini Stravaganza is basically their MCP second edition, and I think it feels good. I really like it.
I need to add a small
JP?
caveat to the
Yeah.
Namor thing. I've been playing exclusively Dormammu for a few weeks, so this is under Dormammu. He gets another power. He can charge double attack. So I guess if I was playing Amazing in the same position, I could web swing and then like double attack.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm getting a 7 and a 5 as opposed to like a 6 and a 6 with 2 rerolls. And then also I'm ignoring damage reduction if they send one out, and I'm getting a stagger, and I'm getting a reroll bubble. So yeah, that's like Namor just feels good, but really even more so in Dormammu. Like he's just tough. He's a tough thing to go against if he can get another power. Like you're either
Yeah, I was gonna say you could do that and definitely in Defenders, right, with Wong.
yeah, you could yeah. Wong could do it with Steve or Black Bolt, whatever. Like he's still good. The reroll bubble definitely makes him just kind of a Swiss Army knife. He's just got a lot of good stuff. He's got a stagger, the reroll bubble. He's just like hyper mobile. He's a bit soft, but like being so mobile and being an extra carrier, or hypothetical extra carrier. I mean, you're probably playing him a little cagey anyway, so.
Holy shit, JP's on the Namor train.
I mean, not like you, but I am liking him.
He's really good.
David, he is good. David, any final thoughts on the crisis selection before we move on to deployment?
I would want to say for the listeners, I think you should start really like planning your roster around whatever your worst crisis is of your 5 rather than planning around whatever you're best at, because that's just not going to come up. So like, unless your opponent just can't identify that you're like amazing at that crisis. But like, I assume most players will know, hey, you're going to be pretty good at this crisis, so maybe I will pick whatever else. So I would say start kind of looking at what you're worst at and trying to plan for, like, maybe I need to add a character that can do something cool in this crisis, or maybe I need to even consider having a separate leadership that can revolve around being able to play this crisis. Yeah, that's what I would do.
All right. So, Webheads, we would very much like to hear what your thoughts are on the change of the crisis rules. So let us know on the socials, or if you're on a Discord, let us know. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are too. Let's move on now, because the other big change is the deployment. Is how you don't know whether or not you're going to go first when you deploy your characters. Alex, how have you seen the deployment rules change the way that you think through your deployment, and how have you seen the way it's affected your opponents?
So if we're talking specifically just like the first priority winner gets to pick deployment side, I have not seen much of a difference. I think I've seen JP pick table side the most out of everybody because he actually looks at the table. Most of the time when
In
I'm
the sense
playing,
that in the sense that he's the only one that's ever done it.
Yes and no. Yes, yeah. Like he's the only one that actually picked table sides. I just kind of pick the side that I'm standing on, and I call it good. Has that fucked me before in the past? Probably, but I'm not keeping track. Now, in the sense of like in preparation, knowing that there's going to be a second priority role, it has made my deployment different based on that. More so thinking
What's
ahead
been
of just go ahead.
What I was gonna say is, what's the biggest change that you think that you've noticed for the change with regards to not knowing if you're going first or not?
For myself, the biggest change is I'm thinking ahead for what if I don't get to go first. If it's a situation where like okay, I plan for both though. Like I'll put a model that's pretty good at getting like a midline point, like JP was saying. Like if recently I've been with King Black Bolt and Rogue, those might be my safe grabbers. But I also keep that in mind. Like maybe I'll put somebody else, one of those two on one of the sides, just in case I don't get to go first and I get to take the one that I really want.
JP, how about you? What have you seen in terms of how the change in the deployment rules has affected both you and the people that you've played against?
I kind of buried the lead there with when I was talking about Namor.
Well, I could see this. I could see the streams crossing. Let's just put it that way.
That was just me and David playing swords in the parking lot.
Yeah, pretty much. It's okay. I got stuff about ASM when it comes back around.
Hey, Alex, you remember that one time you moved up Black Bolt to grab the side hammer, and I charged you with my Dormammu Namor and double attacked you for 2 damage? That was fucking awesome.
I thought it was really awesome. Like you didn't even get like the 2 damage was on the second attack too. It wasn't even the first one to get staggered.
Yeah, it didn't even stagger you. It was just like Namor had a floppy fish dick. It's fucking ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure I wasn't even there that evening, and I could still hear you swearing.
Yeah.
It's because your Namor spears broke. That's what it is.
Oh my fucking god! It wasn't broken then.
It was pretty phenomenal.
It broke after.
That's probably why it broke. I probably felt bad about it. It was like
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Well, when you after that activation, when you picked it up and slammed it on the ground, that might have had something to do with it.
I'm gonna green stuff a big floppy dildo in his hand for his punishment.
That would be amazing. It has to be giant and purple. Like
it'll have scales on it. He likes that shit.
Yeah. You could just call his charge the
Webheads,
dildo ram.
So basically, it's an abomination dildo.
David's NyQuil's kicking in hardcore.
David's NyQuil's kicking in. Are you kidding?
He's mixing it with alcohol and an energy drink, people.
I warned you, webheads. I had no idea where this one's gonna go. Buckle up.
So I haven't.
David, how about you?
Getting back on track. Actually answer your question.
Finish your thought, JP.
I don't know how much it affects anything except for like a single mid grab. I feel like everything else kind of plays out equally, because anything that has 4 extract is going to reach parity if the player really wants it to, assuming that they have characters who are able to move far enough to counter grab if their opponent grabs one of theirs. So I'm thinking of what's the B extract setup? What's that one called?
That lockdown?
Is that the wedding party?
The one that pushes you if you're like more than 2 away from a scenario.
Yeah, it's wedding party. Or no, not wedding party. It's the wedding guests. The wedding
guests. Yeah.
Yeah, wedding guests.
That's the only one I can think of where it's like an even number and you have like a hard time grabbing your opponent's sides. I can't think of any others. So it's basically like a single midline grab. Obviously, that's going to change the dynamic substantially because it's just like a coin flip who gets the shot at it. Other than that, though, I think the turns kind of play out normally. I think more importantly is, generally speaking, outside of the F's extract setups, is that if you have like a 5v5 where you wouldn't automatically lose prio based on the number of models you have, whatever it is, 4v4, 5v5, 6v6, you have a chance to like flip the prio right there, rather than waiting for your opponent to like give you prio by dazing one of your models out of activation. You get the leg up to have prio. I think that's probably more impactful more often than like the F grab, and also Namor. Namor's good still. I don't know if I said that, but I think all the other mid grabbers kind of lost a little bit, especially Angela. Angela just, oof, that one's rough. She cannot punish.
Angela was
if she whiffs.
She was probably bottom of the list to start with, and then between the way the priority works and then the way they change the throws, I think that probably just kind of really put her under the bus.
Honestly,
Ooh.
like as a punish, she wasn't bad. If there was like a size 4 anywhere around the middle, like move up, punch for 6, throw for 5, like it's pretty good. But now,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not so much.
Like
Who in the hell are we even talking about?
Angela?
Don't talk that.
No, that's my point.
Don't talk that way about.
Yeah.
Don't talk that way about my girl. Don't talk that way. That's just mean. David, how about you? What are your thoughts in terms of how you've seen your game change with regards to the deployment rules, and how you've seen your opponent's game change?
So now that we're done hearing, JP suck Namor's dick,
he's got an innie. I can't even find it.
JP, does that mean you like fish sticks?
If they're the frozen ones.
Yeah, come on, Patrick. How did you not see that coming? Like, that was so perfect.
Man, we are earning our explicit tag today.
It's all
I said
innuendo.
fish sticks.
So let's talk about ASM. So ASM, yeah, he can do the mid grab thing, obviously, like Namor can. But what I've been doing with ASM is I'll deploy him mid, just like as if I was going to grab it. And if I don't grab it, then I grab one of their back Fs with ASM, because he can get to either one of them. And I have been bringing cards like Fallback and Spider Tracker. With those two cards, ASM, you probably attack ASM once, and he has enough power to probably Fallback or Spider Tracker, right? Because he'll probably take a damage, and he'll probably roll a crit, right? So having the ability to like pull him back if he gets in danger is like huge. And
I love David's logic of he's rolling 4 dice, so he probably rolls a crit, right?
Dude, you beat me too. I was going to say that exact thing. I'm over here like,
he's also got rerolls too, right? So you could reroll into a crit. That does count.
Well, yes, it does count, but I also don't think you understand. David dice, yes, will roll a crit every time with those rerolls. Anybody else's dice, you'll be lucky if you see a crit, if not 3 skulls. So,
well, and also, if I don't roll a crit, that means I probably rolled bad, which means I probably took damage, so then I'll probably have it online either way, right?
That's true. My counter argument to this is, you could do this shit anyway, right? Even before the prio change stuff?
You could, but having the option to do either one is, kind of what I was getting at. Basically, having multiple plans with a character's initial activation is a lot better. And I've noticed that I have been messing up by... So, one of the things about deployment I've noticed is that dead center middle of the table spot on your deployment zone is kind of like, I guess I would call it premium real estate, because there's so many characters that can do so many different things from that position. So, for example, I have ASM and Ultimate Spider-Man roster. If I deploy ASM in the middle, he can grab the middle F or the back Fs, right? If I deploy Ultimate Spider-Man there, he can also grab the mid grab or the back Fs. But if I deploy him over on the side where next to ASM, then he can't do it. So thinking about where ASM needs to be and where Ultimate Spider-Man needs to be has started to become I've noticed that I've deployed Ultimate Spider-Man wrong just by not realizing that Ultimate Spider-Man has more options because he's a long mover to move to different secures. And so if I'm not deployed correctly, then I can't reach the one secure I'm trying to reach. And it's also happened to me a few times with like Fury Grunts, right? So a medium base, medium mover can reach either side D, but they have to be exactly in the middle to do it. So like if they wanted to grab a hammer, they could grab either one, but they have to be exactly in the middle. And so if that isn't in your process on your deployment, then it's going to be wrong, and then they're not going to be able to, which is something to definitely think about, especially if there's like terrain and shit, because it is a very exact. Like you can, like if you mismeasure it, you won't reach. So it's very, like you have to be very particular about where you place and that kind of thing. Like I noticed that like on, what's up? Go ahead.
Can't ASM and Ultimate split the difference on deployment in the middle and do whatever they want to do? Ultimate can go. He's long mover, right? He can go either side on a D or either back F extract.
I think he's like slightly off. If you're not on center, for him to get to the, like ASM can definitely do it, but I think Ultimate is off. I think you have to be exactly in the middle to do it.
For what? Getting what?
To get the back F. If you want to grab the back F, I think you
have
to be
I think
exactly
you can still get there.
The
I think you can still get there.
Can you?
I think so.
I'll have to look at it.
Because I know you got some wiggle. If you deploy mid, you got some wiggle room with a long mover small base.
Okay, maybe you can then. I know you can like reach, like if you deploy directly in the middle with a long mover, you can reach either like M Cran or either, I think you can reach either B as well, because they're like closer in than the M Crans.
Oh, closer toward the center of the table, like between the players. Yeah, the B. I think the B is the most spread though, right?
I think the B is the most spread
because you're going laterally, like you're.
But the B is closer.
It's the farthest
to your
move to your
zone.
Well, yeah, but if you're going to your opponents, taking into
100%.
Like
if you're going into your opponents, then it's definitely farther.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure you can do that. I don't think you can go with a small base long mover to opposite B. I know you can to opposite F, but I don't think you can do it to B. Because you know how Bs are like slightly over compared to where an F is?
I'm pretty sure you can do it with Bs too, with a long mover.
This is all like
we should know. We should know this,
math.
But I'm pretty sure you could do that with a small base long mover if you deploy center. You can make it to either B, because I think I remember doing it to Patrick when I played against his Guardians with my Kingpin. I moved my Black Cat. Yeah, I moved Black Cat to his back B, and I'm pretty sure I was set mid. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure she was mid. It's a little tighter though. Yeah,
it's definitely one of those things that you as a player should like sit down and measure out and go, okay, can I reach this? Can I reach this? Can I do this? Can I do that? That way, you know, going into a game, you can already do it.
Or going into a podcast.
Or going into a podcast, yeah. where we played probably 1,000 games between all of us, right? Like, you think we would know. Medicine. It's very possible. It's very possible. But I mean, even me and you, JP, were debating the medium base, medium move to a D, right? Like we were even debating whether you could do that. And
yeah,
it's just very exact.
It's super tight. It's super tight. You can't have your range ruler gypped at all on movement. You have to be
exact,
very straight, and very unblocked.
Yeah, like terrain can really jack that up. So like that's where being able to pick table sides becomes an important idea, right? Like if you know you want to have this plan, then maybe if you have the ability to pick table side, maybe you go, okay, I'm gonna choose this one because I know that I can double move over here, but if I do it over on this side, I know that the terrain piece is just gonna be in the way, so I need to flip sides of the table.
Well, what you're saying
Which is
is
always something to think
on
about.
on one side you can do it you can make it to both sides.
Yeah, exactly.
And on another
yeah.
side you
but
can
then,
only make it to one.
because there's a terrain piece that you either
Yeah.
can't stand on, or like it's just in the way, or
Yeah.
any kind of weird thing that might get in way of your position.
So, is there does the fact that you don't know whether you're going first or not, does that? I mean, you guys talked about how like that dead center is the prime real estate. Is there more of a? Does it change the dynamic or change the incentive in terms of, like, do you deploy that right away? Do you wait to deploy that? Does it change, if at all, does it change the order in which you're deploying your models?
Sometimes it does. Like if I have a large base and we're
Yeah.
playing a D extract, I usually just get that out of the way. I'm like, my opponent knows where I'm going to put this guy anyway, so I'm just going to put him down now. So I have more information when I put down my other models. Say like Hulk or Dormammu on a hammer map. Like I'm just going to put him down.
I want to add on to that too. So on so obviously what JP's talking about is on a D crisis, a large base can be deployed at range 1 of the back D. But I assume everybody knows that, but for people who don't know that, that's you can do that. You can totally interact without having to spend an action to move. But the other crisis that works on is that works on the new jailbreak.
It does.
So that's something to think about, is that you can deploy within one of it and pick it up and then walk to a secure, which is actually pretty good, because that can allow you to score things that you might not have been able to score otherwise, right?
Yeah. Speaking of prime real estate and reaching back Fs and stuff, I know that you can, if you have someone set up in mid, you can put a long mover behind them, basically behind the deployment line, but dead center, and that model can still double move to a back F.
Ooh, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because they only lose like an inch and a quarter or whatever it is.
Yeah, okay. So that means I could like deploy ASM, say, directly back, and then I could put Ultimate Spider-Man right behind him and either F?
Yeah. And I think you could just
like
put
that.
I think you could just put a long mover next to ASM as well. You should be able to make it too, or they could split the difference if they couldn't. I'm sure they can make it.
I think though, if you split the difference, you might not be able to grab mid with ASM though.
Yeah, you could.
You might have to be
you have some wiggle room there, because you can grab either of the weapons with the long move, medium base, right?
Oh yeah, I guess you can. Yeah, you can.
So you can be off. You can be off center a decent amount, enough to split the difference anyway. If not, just be completely, like straddling not straddling, but flanking the center model.
Which again, for those out there, is another reason to play Namor on Inhuman Weapons, because he can grab one and run away with it, or if you grab one, he can punch you and still grab the other one, which is pretty good.
Yes.
This podcast brought to you by Namor, Prince of Atlantis, Imperious Rex.
It's dildo charge. That's what we're calling it.
So, because you're acting without knowledge, at least who's going to go first, does the change in the rules add an additional disincentive to bringing slow-moving characters?
I think if your roster wasn't already, if you're like trying to play fast, you're obviously not going to take yours, right? Like, I don't think it changes. Like, I don't think it, like, especially with the large base ones, right? Like, I don't think that the priority change is going to affect somebody like Rhino or Hulk. Like, they're going to be the same, right? I don't think it incentivizes you to not play either.
What? Sorry, Patrick. What was the question?
So, I mean, because you don't know who's going first, the change in the change in the deployment rules seems to really require more flexibility. And so I got to thinking, does that mean you are less likely to want to bring a short moving character just because of the inherent lack of flexibility that they have?
Oh, I see. I mean, short mover, small base characters just kind of suck in general. Those have always been disincentivized. So
I mean, nobody plays. I can't remember. Like maybe maybe one of the only characters that's short base, short movers that gets played is Mysterio. Like otherwise,
Yeah.
I mean, nobody plays Crossbones. Nobody plays Super Giant. Like,
yeah, I mean,
what are
there's
you
only
doing?
3, right? And
I was about to say, are there any other?
all right, well, I guess technically 4 because Crossbones has 2 models, but
Oh, that's true.
But both of those are not getting played. So
yeah.
Right.
But I
Two
mean,
models so bad they only count as one.
I think the map determines the character speed more than the change to the rules, probably.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I agree with you, but like, explain to the listeners what that means.
So, like, if it's a spread out map where you'd have to be moving a lot to actually be playing the game, then you'd probably want fast characters. Where if it's like a tighter map, then it's not as important to be able to get to a spot in 1 to 2 clean moves instead of like 2 to 3 or 4 clean moves.
So like that would be the example would be like lockdown, right? Like because
I
of
mean,
the
that's a good
way
example.
lockdown is set. Because of the way lockdown is set up and the way you score, you could easily a short base or a small base small mover could easily run between scoring points. Like they don't need to have speed to be able to rotate.
I mean, I think small base, small movers are just kind of shitty no matter what. But if we're talking about like
100%.
medium base, small movers, like, yeah, it still sucks because you have to double move between points. Where, like, if you're a medium base, medium mover, if you're like on the inside, then you can get to the other one with 1 move and still have an action. Or obviously, like, small base, long mover can get there very easily. So there's still issues with it, but if your leader and or your core is not like fast characters, and I mean, if we're being honest, fast characters are kind of in the minority in terms of like overall models in the game. Like, I don't know what percentage are fast or like fast moving, the or long moving, but it's definitely a minority. So it's not like you're just gonna have like a roster of all long moving characters to play anyway.
Unless you
So
play webs.
I guess unless you play webs, but even then, like, you're still probably playing like spectacular and or noir and or 2099 maybe.
Yeah, you can definitely end up with a roster that doesn't have of like they are of the what I would consider they have a lot of long movers basically in
Yeah,
that
but
affiliate.
even spec I guess has web swing, so it kind of counteracts that a little bit.
Okay. Kind of any last thoughts with regards to the kind of the change in the deployment rules? Alex, anything that we kind of missed out or that we didn't cover that you got to thinking about?
No, I thought we covered it really well. I like the deployment rules now, just with all the changes in general. Like they weren't that bad to begin with, and yeah, I think it's good. I'm not disappointed with how it works. I kind of wish I will take that back a little bit actually. I kind of wish deployment side was not chosen by first priority winner player.
Mhm.
I kind of wish second player got to pick like it was previously. It gave I think it gave too much to the priority winner at this point right now. It's not as much as it could have been, but that little bit can help.
JP, how about you? Any kind of last thoughts?
I kind of agree. I mean, I do agree with that sentiment from Alex. I think picking your preferred scenario set is definitely still very good, even with the veto. So being able to do that and pick sides is, I don't know, it seems a little lopsided to me. obviously the rules are just better than they were before, regardless of that. But I feel like it could have been a little tighter in terms of um, advantage gained on first dice roll of game. Other than that, I don't really remember. My head is so swimmy right now that I don't really remember what we talked about aside from like fish sticks and green stuffed dildos. So we'll just move on to David.
David? I mean, talk about getting set up.
I will say, I think it's, you want to have multiple plans for what your initial models are going to do in their activation. Like, don't just assume that your character's going to like double move and grab an objective or something. Like, kind of think about, am I going to be able to grab that objective? Does it matter? Like, what can my opponent do to punish me? And also to kind of, I think we're going to start to see a little more of those characters that have ability to like save a mid grab, whether it's like Loki, right? Because Loki has his portal online on round 1, so he could just like easily double move to somewhere and port somebody off mid who grabbed an objective, and so now they're not getting punished by Namor, right? There's characters like who else? Even in like Alex's roster with Bolt and Cyclops, right? You have the ability to pull somebody off mid with Bolt, or you could attack somebody and then pull them off mid with Cyclops, or I mean, even like Convocation with their ability to bump off of mid. Just having more plans to be able to save your characters that you put up to grab mid objectives, because I feel like they're a little bit more threatened than they used to be, because it's not an automatic sequence of events. Like, I'm going to grab this one, you're going to grab that one, and then we're going to continue to do that dance. The idea of having somebody who can like push a character back is pretty good. Like, it's definitely something to consider.
I think before the crisis change, even we were kind of with the rotation of eyes on the prize, we were kind of down to basically not having safe mid grabs anymore. And then the rules, the rule shakeup definitely made even less incentive to have a mid grabber, because you might not even be guaranteed a mid grab. So it is interesting. We might see that a little bit with the post activation mid grab, like second character moving the grabber, depending on the opponent and the scenario, I guess. Like, if your opponent's coming in hot with a lot of aggression, it's definitely a good play to be able to save your mid grabber. And I think people are probably starting to think about that a little bit more now that we've had a meta without a lot of safe mid grabbers, because the characters in the game in general seem to be getting more lethal. Not specifically, like, obviously they've nerfed a lot of the really high damage characters, but just overall there has definitely been like some creep in the offensive capability of a lot of characters, and I think that's confirmed by the changes that they're making to increase characters' health pools.
Yeah, I was about to say, it seems like they're going to be balancing things out by giving Nick Fury all the health.
It's my health,
he
motherfucker.
Needs all the health. Yeah, he needs it all. Give me it all.
All right, Webheads, we would love to hear what you think about it. How has the rule change changed how you've deployed? Have you seen how your opponents have deployed differently? What do you think of the game? We've had a little time to kind of sit and chew on the new rules. We'd like to hear what you think in terms of if the game feels like a total 2.0 or if it's just been a tweak or whatever. You can reach out and hit us at all the socials at Witty Bantercast. You can email us for the olds at wittybantercast@gmail.com, or you can hit us up at patreon.com/wittybantercast for just $1 a month. You can join our Discord and we can have this conversation, and maybe we'll be slightly less hopped up on cold medicine. Thanks for listening, Webheads, and until next time, be good.